Good morning, good afternoon. Sorry, I just had a really weird, it was very strange. Like when I started the practice session, it came up like totally different in a different window. Anyway, never mind, but technical difficulties, I am here and thankfully you are too. So come on in, and as you're coming into the room, I will introduce myself. My name is Rebecca Becky Montrone. I have a business here called Wondrous Roots. I am a holistic healthcare practitioner with a degree in holistic nutrition. So I work with clients in private consultation surrounding the use of mostly things such as nutrients, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, herbs, herbs, botanicals, natural things that we use to affect health in positive ways, both for preventing disease and then also for serious diseases and everything in between. So let's put it that way. So I meet with people here in my office on 103 Roxbury Street up on the third floor of the Miller Forge building in Keene, New Hampshire, or we do it distance like this. So anyway, again, it's really great to have you here today. And me talking about, well, I guess I should finish my intro. So our number here is 603-439-2603. I have two websites, wondrousroots.org, which is more of a learning website, and then shopwondrousroots.com, which is my online store. And you can reach out to me from either of those sites because in the contact us, you type in your communication to me. It comes to my private email and I will respond to you. I'm the only one who sees those and be really happy to connect with you. So I think that's all I want to say at the moment. My subject matter today is going to be, if you want to participate, and I certainly urge you to do that if you want to, and you don't have to talk about what's on my topic today. It can be anything at all that you want me to weigh in on or that you want to weigh in on. My topic is earthing and grounding. So one of my really faithful participants in this in my Saturday programs has had suggested that this week. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So you can type into the chat. If you see, that's down at the bottom of mine, type into the chat. You can raise your hand and type into the raise the hand, or you can, where in the hand, raise your hand, you don't type into it, you raise your hand and I call on you, or you can type into the Q&A. Okay, so hopefully that makes all kinds of sense. If you're watching this on the recording and you've never joined or listened to any of my programs before on YouTube or Rumble, then and you would like to be notified every Saturday about what I'll be talking about, go to wondrousroots.org or shopwondrousroots.com and sign up for the mailing list, and you'll get that announcement. Okay, so I think I will jump right in. Again, earthing, grounding, I'll go to my my page on that. Let's see, wondrousroots.org. And we are on, I guess what I'll do is just share my screen. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're having a good weekend so far. It's blustery here. March is coming in like a lion, which means it's supposed to go out like a lamb. So yeah, a lot of wind. Actually on the 1st, last Saturday in the evening, it was like totally windy. And then the past couple of days have been crazy here. I don't know about where you are, but just getting you guys lined up in your proper places. And let me see myself here. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to minimize. Okay. Chat and participants. Okay, we're all set. Okay, so if you go to, this is wondrousroots.org. If you go there and you go to learn, you're going to see a bunch of topics, pages that are devoted to certain topics. This one is lifestyle and health habits. So then, similar to like nutrients, it'll be like a number of things in alphabetical order. So I started today with this topic on this page, which is earthing and grounding. And again, that's been something that's been sort of like all in the buzz about natural health, the things that we can do to improve our health. But I think there's more to it. There's more importance to it probably than I've thought of before. Now I've known about it, and I've even gifted earthing like mats and sheets and things like that because I know that it's helpful, but I've never really delved into it in depth. And I think it's also really, it's probably causative to a lot of our chronic diseases, not just how can this help, how can connecting with the electrons really that come from the Earth's surface, which is what grounding and earthing is all about, how does the lack of doing that invite ill health and chronic diseases, pain, inflammation, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative disease, such as dementia, things like that. So I think it's quite worth paying attention to, and also just kind of seeing how we came away from that. And I found, I'm going to show this to you on my page, like we're gonna breeze down through it and get down to the bottom. I really recommend that this is over an hour long, this earthing movie. It is really excellent. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I was listening to it as I was going along, and I want to go back and finish it. But a lot of good voices on there, scientists, people like this guy, these people here who are all involved in this kind of bringing earthing forward, and people's testimonies of using earthing for really severe problems in health being turned around. So we're going to be talking about different body systems and how they help. But I think it's really worth listening to, especially if you are dealing with a chronic or a serious health challenge. It does influence the immune system, and I didn't take the time to delve into what we know about, say, grounding, earthing practices in cancer, but it should be there, and it might be in that movie. This is also, as I'm jumping around here, this book, which is in my cart. Actually, I haven't ordered it yet, but this is also the one that I was just showing you. But I think that this will be very, very informative for more specific things and testimonials and more science supporting the practice of earthing. Earthing is really great because when you think about it, you don't have to do that much. Now, the problem is, like, we can't, okay, well, let's talk about what it is first, because maybe you don't even know. But okay, so earthing, also known as grounding, refers to the practice of connecting with the Earth's electrical energy by walking barefoot on natural surfaces or using grounding devices. So right there, how practical is it to be walking around barefoot? Even in the nice weather now, when, like, as a child, I would be walking around barefoot. Now we have to worry about ticks, and nobody wants Lyme disease. So you've got problems with that idea of I'll just go around and walk outside in the grass every day. So anyway, well, maybe some of you don't, but it wouldn't be my go-to. Proponents believe that this connection can help reduce inflammation, improve sleep, and enhance overall well-being by stabilizing the body's electrical environment. While scientific research is still emerging, and there's quite a bit of it, many individuals report feeling more relaxed and rejuvenated after grounding practices. Incorporating earthing into your daily routine may offer a simple way to reconnect with nature and promote a healthier lifestyle. There was when I was listening in the background to that video that I was showing you, one of the people was talking about his mom, and she was an elderly woman, and she had some sort of a problem with her peripheral circulation or something. And she was very much impaired. And she also couldn't play tennis as she was used to playing. And after one night of grounding, you'll have to go back, don't quote me on it, but after one night of sleeping on a grounding sheet or a mat on the bed, the difference in just one night was really remarkable. So they have these devices, and we'll talk about those too, because that's probably the way I will, well, that is the way I will incorporate grounding into my daily life, because yeah, just saying, okay, when the weather's nice, I'll run around out there barefoot and then check my feet for ticks. It's just not going to happen. Okay, anyway, modern life has disrupted the grounding connection between humans and Earth through various factors, particularly the use of synthetic materials in everyday items like shoes. That's another thing. So the shoes with synthetic soles are an issue. So if you think back in the old days, right, shoes were mostly leather back when Jesus was walking. When all of the people in the Bible times were walking, they were in sandals, which were not synthetic. They had much more of a connection to the electrons that are being emitted from the Earth's surface. And so that's a big thing too, is like looking into what kind of shoes you're wearing and how, and I'm sure you can, I didn't look, but I'm sure you can. And if I looked right now, if you found shoes that were designed for that, they're easy to find. But yeah, so the lack of these synthetic soles prevent the natural conduction of energy and electrons from the Earth, which are believed to have health benefits. This lack of direct contact with the ground can disrupt our body's natural rhythms and may contribute to increased stress and inflammation. Reconnecting physically with the Earth, whether through barefoot or natural materials, may help restore these vital connections. So this is really cool, this paper here. Grounding, the universal anti-inflammatory remedy. And actually, if I go here and hit it there, we'll see it this way. Grounding or earthing could be the anti-inflammatory antidote for modern man. I mean, that's significant. I think anything that's simple like that, that can affect your body in a way so as to impact chronic disease, should you have it, or prevent chronic disease, is absolutely should be right up there in the headlines. You know, what are the other things I've talked about, right, that we say contributes to chronic disease? Our tainted and poisoned and pesticided food supply, our lack of nutrients in the soils, and other problems such as the stuff in our atmosphere, the things we're breathing, and the endocrine disruptors in our environment, and all kinds of things like this will not be getting our normal vital electron connection from the Earth is part of that. And so I would think it should have a lot more prominence in the holistic health discussion arena. So anyway, grounding or earthing could be the anti-inflammatory antidote for modern man. It is one of the greatest kept secrets when it comes to our health and aliveness, and only a small part of the scientific community really understands the concept. Once health professionals and others realize that grounding is especially important in preventing inflammatory illness, an incredible effect on public health will be realized. The breadth of validation, they meant breadth of validation from previous published data and real-life testimonials is a testimony of the Earth's dramatic impact on healing the human body. Health information is constantly changing as a result of new research and various approaches to treating a multitude of inflammatory conditions. Sometimes, even with the most relevant published data, it's difficult to choose which advice is most conducive for healing. For example, it has been noted that perhaps 1/3 of the medical literature could be fraudulent. Understanding absolute versus relative risk can also be confusing, even for health professionals. And when data is reported in relative risk, only a fraction of the real science is revealed. However, one small established fact that conveys universal agreement is the simple correlation that inflammation is the root cause of almost all diseases. And we've seen that, all the things that I've talked about, every single topic, health topic, we always inflammation is always right there. And what do we do to get inflammation down, right? Glutathione is the master anti-inflammatory. Melatonin is a master anti-inflammatory. Palmitoylethanolamide is a master anti-inflammatory. So antioxidant, and actually grounding techniques are actually antioxidant inducers as well. So again, simple, inexpensive ways to do this. So let's go back. So like, I'm like a nerd, so I'm like, let me try to understand better what's all going on with the Earth's magnetic field and what we're actually getting and what we're missing and that kind of thing. So the Earth's magnetic field, like the whole big Earth's magnetic field, is a protective force generated by the movement of molten iron in its outer core. Acting like a giant magnet, it extends from the Earth's interior into space, shielding the planet from solar radiation and cosmic particles. This field plays a crucial role in navigation, animal migration, like, you know, your compass and all that, and even biological processes, influencing circadian rhythms and cellular function. It also interacts with the atmosphere to create natural phenomena like the auroras. So, but it's not this core magnetic field that we're so much talking about when it comes to the electrons that we're getting from the Earth's surface. They originally, like, there's no geomagnetic field without the big magnetic field, but it is the geomagnetic field that we're harnessing the electrons from. So the geomagnetic field is fundamentally dependent on the Earth's magnetic field because it originates from the planet's internal magnetic forces. The Earth's core dynamo effect, created by the movement of molten iron in the outer core, generates the primary magnetic field. This core-driven field extends outward and interacts with external influence, such as the solar wind, cosmic radiation, forming what is known as the geomagnetic field. So in short, the Earth's magnetic field is generated internally by the planet. The geomagnetic field is the larger external manifestation of that magnetic field, shaped by interactions with space. So anyway, I kind of always like to get to the root of things to start my understanding of them. So without the Earth's internal magnetic field, the geomagnetic field and its protective magnetosphere wouldn't exist. Both influence biological life, with the geomagnetic field particularly affecting circadian rhythms, like when we're asleep, when we're awake, brain activity, and possibly mitochondrial function. There we go. I'm the mitochondriac. Mitochondrial function, due to its interaction with electromagnetic waves like the Schumann resonances, natural electromagnetic frequencies in the atmosphere. It is therefore the geomagnetic field we are connecting with when we practice grounding techniques. Okay. These Schumann resonances are low-frequency electromagnetic waves that occur in the Earth's atmosphere, specifically in the cavity between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. These waves are generated by lightning strikes and resonate at frequencies around 7 and 80.83 hertz, the fundamental frequency with higher harmonics. These natural electromagnetic frequencies are believed to synchronize with brainwave activity, influencing circadian rhythms, sleep, and overall biological function. Think about when we were talking about melatonin. You know, I've talked about that. I did a whole program on that. I have a lot of information on my melatonin page and how important that is to our overall health. Yes, when it comes to like all of these multiple different areas of health, such as sleep and hormones and inflammation and immune system and all of that kind of thing. So this is all, talk about wondrous roots. This is all going back to the Earth. These things all sort of originate from. And so figuring out how to harness them, and it's been figured out, but actually doing it, I think it could be really huge. And especially for some of you who are dealing with severe and difficult health issues that are just are particularly stubborn, let's put it that way. Okay, since grounding connects the body to the Earth's surface charge, it may also enhance the body's natural resonance with these frequencies. So then I'm saying grounding in the wondrous mitochondrial root of health, grounding or earthing, direct contact with the Earth's surface through bare feet or conductive grounding mats allows free electrons from the Earth to enter the body. Okay, so remember we were talking about the mitochondria. I think when I was talking about, well, I know I talked about it during the Alzheimer's presentation, but I think it was before that I even got more into that, or maybe that was the one where I really delved into it. We talked about how methylene blue, like in the mitochondrial complex chain, you have these electrons and you end up with missing electrons, and then you have things that go in and donate the missing electrons, so that's a positive thing. And that contributes to your mitochondrial energy. So that's really what you're getting if you want to bring this down to science again, which is why I brought all that in by way of introduction, is that you are getting these electrons that you need to fill in your mitochondrial complex chain. There are 4 mitochondrial complexes, and so anyway, you need this to be happening. So these electrons act as powerful antioxidants. Normally we think of antioxidants, we think of, like I said, glutathione, vitamins A, vitamin C, vitamin E, things that are high in quenching free radicals. Free radicals damage our mitochondria by stealing electrons, if you will, to really simplify things, but kind of putting it in the language of what we're doing here and why getting these extra electrons is really beneficial for us. Okay, antioxidants, neutralizing excess free radicals that cause oxidative stress and mitochondrial dysfunction. Again, the mitochondria are the powerhouses of our cells. They generate the ATP, the adenosine triphosphate, through the electron transport chain, a process dependent on this nice harmonious flow of electrons. When oxidative stress is high, mitochondrial efficiency declines due to electron leakage and increased reactive oxygen species. So you've got radiation, right? Okay, so reactive oxygen species can come at us through even something like sunlight, and that uses up our antioxidants, and then we get a sunburn. Okay, so free radicals and reactive oxygen species, we use antioxidant boosting methods, if you will, to or nutrients or whatever to increase our antioxidant capability so that we are repelling the damage caused by oxidative stress and free radicals. Grounding provides a natural influx of electrons, helping to reduce oxidative stress by neutralizing free radicals, preserving mitochondrial integrity. This is foundational to health. We start making our mitochondria start becoming more dysfunctional, less functional and more dysfunctional around age 30. 30, our mitochondria become fewer, larger, less efficient. So we try to do things and incorporate those things into our lifestyle and diet that increase our mitochondrial energy. And we've talked about things like that. Again, CoQ10, lipoic acid, things that raise NAD+, like niacinamide, and there's just a slew of them. But again, this is like super important. The decline of mitochondrial energy has been called the decline of life's energy, and it is a massive force behind the aging process. So when you see somebody who looks prematurely aged, you can see that their mitochondrial energy is lower than it should be. If you see somebody who's aging really well for their age, they're keeping up, their mitochondrial energy is higher, is a good way to kind of observe that. Enhancing ATP production by maintaining an efficient flow of electrons in the electron transport chain, supporting cellular repair by lowering inflammation and improving redox balance. Let me just move this really quickly. Okay. Improving blood flow by reducing blood viscosity, so the thickness of the blood, optimizing oxygenation of the blood, and nutrient delivery to the mitochondria. Wow. I mean, you can literally do this by buying yourself something that you buy one time and putting it on your bed. And you can do that, like, you can put the mats that you can get for under your chair when you're sitting at your computer, or if you're at a desk all day, or things like that. This is really very exciting. By mitigating oxidative damage and optimizing mitochondrial function, grounding supports overall energy production, cellular longevity, and systemic health. I mean, if your mitochondrial energy is low, you are more prone to developing cancer. You are more prone to developing other chronic diseases because you just don't have your cells functioning and firing like they should be. This was really good. Integrative and lifestyle medicine strategies should include earthing, grounding, a review of research evidence and clinical observations. And that paper is here. Earthing, also known as grounding, refers to the discovery that bodily contact with the Earth's natural electric charge stabilizes the physiology at the deepest levels, reduces inflammation, pain, and stress, improves blood flow, energy, and sleep, and generates greater well-being. Such effects are profound, systemic, and foundational, and often develop rapidly. Earthing is as simple as routinely walking barefoot outdoors and or using inexpensive grounding systems indoors while sleeping or sitting. Practices that restore a lost and needed electric connection with the earth. Some 20 studies to date have reported intriguing evidence of wide and significant physiological improvements when the body is grounded versus non-grounded. The research, along with numerous anecdotal reports, demonstrates that earthing clearly deserves inclusion in the clinical practice of preventive, alternative, and lifestyle medicine, and has great potential to render these approaches more effective. Now, let's talk about that. I mean, let's think about people let's talk about rehab facilities, right? For people who've had strokes or whatever, you're going in for rehab, or what about the investment in nursing homes or something of a grounding material in the beds of those. I think that could be absolutely revolutionary when you think about it, right? When you think about the time it might take off somebody recuperating. I've got to ask Kathy. Let me see if Kathy's here. Kathy's not here. She's probably doing her Saturday acupuncture. Kathy's our classmate here who had that stroke. And we were just in touch yesterday, actually. But I think that this would be huge for her. I think it would be huge for anyone. But I think, yeah, what about that? Your body's ability to heal faster. We're going to get into that too. Yeah. So here it's kind of like a brief overview on specific areas of health, primarily due to its ability to improve things and balance the autonomic nervous system, which is another thing that's really difficult to do. People with dysautonomia who have a malfunctioning autonomic nervous system. I am sure that grounding has something to do with the vagus nerve. I'm positive if we're looking at its effect on the autonomic nervous system. In fact, I bet you if I do just a brief earthing, grounding, and the vagus nerve. Watch it prove me. Yes, earthing for vagal tone or the vagus nerve. As the main nerve of our parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve helps regulate a number of the body's functions from, okay, blah, 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 blah. Research shows that improving vagal tone for the functioning of the vagus nerve may support healthy cardiovascular. Let's just see. Yeah, there we go. Earthing for vagal tone. I'll actually add that to my page later on. I'll find some more things too, but yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. The only tool I have right now that I've been using for improving vagal tone is that acupressure pen, quartz operated. Some of you would do that at my recommendation. But okay, there we go. The autonomic nervous system, that's like huge. That just actually popped out at me. I kind of breezed over it before. I wasn't really thinking about it. That's big. All right. So think about that. All right. Decreases inflammation and pain reduction, decreases chronic inflammation by neutralizing excess free radicals, reduces thereby pain associated with arthritis, muscle soreness and injuries, helps with autoimmune related pain, multiple sclerosis, lupus, you go for it, Sjogren's, scleroderma, psoriatic arthritis, right? Rheumatoid arthritis. And when we think inflammation, let's not just think about pain, right? Because inflammation causes so many other horrible things that don't necessarily feel painful, such as, its involvement in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. So it's wonderful when we can get a decrease in inflammation and we can feel it in our knees, if you will. But when we're going after inflammation, it's so much more pervasive, thankfully to say, than that. Improve circulation and cardiovascular health. It's a huge area of health. What they say, cardiovascular health is like, I think cancer is the biggest killer, and then cardiovascular problems. And so here we go. It lowers your blood, it keeps your blood thinner. And I would say definitely not contraindicated if you're on a blood thinning medication. Like you might have to be careful with some other things like proteolytic enzymes or something like that. Enhances microcirculation. So microcirculation is the big thing that goes missing as we age. And they have, like, there's the Beamer. Have you guys, any of you heard of the Beamer? So the Beamer is like a very expensive, very, very expensive chair that you can purchase to help with microcirculation. But grounding does that. So if some of you live in areas, I've got a couple of people in my class today who are on the West Coast, and it might be very natural for you to be out on the beach several times a week or something like that. But for somebody like me, that's not the case if I put one of these mats on my bed. So I am, when you're sleeping, actually enhancing microcirculation for that whole time that you're sleeping. It's not like a 15-minute treatment that you go to your chiropractor and pay a session for 3 times a week, right? So it just seems like a lot of bang for your buck. And it sounds like the kind of thing you want to keep going as much as possible. Enhances microcirculation. Okay, we just talked about that. Regulates heart rate variability, supporting autonomic nervous system balance. That goes back to the vagus nerve again. And then enhanced sleep and circadian rhythm regulation, right there. How many people's health is characterized by poor sleep, or what do I want to say? Like, poor sleep is a double-edged sword, right? Because you don't sleep well if you're in pain and you're sick, you generally don't sleep as well because you're uncomfortable. And then if you don't sleep well, it makes you more sick. So sleep is super important. So synchronizes the body with natural Schumann resonance, promoting deeper sleep. Again, that's that frequency up here. We looked at the Schumann resonances. Lowers nighttime cortisol levels. The nighttime cortisol levels are what get you up at 3 o'clock and then you can't go back to sleep. That's like, boom, your adrenal glands are telling you you're supposed to be awake and up there, ready to get on with your day. And you're like, no, it's only 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to go back to sleep. Well, your cortisol's too high. In many cases, that's exactly what's behind it. So I would think this would be huge for people who have trouble with sleep. And increases your melatonin production naturally, improving sleep quality. This is one thing. Let's look at some of these devices. Now, I just went to Amazon. There, you can do all your own shopping. I just was looking for something that, so I found this company on Amazon has its own, like we do. We have our own page. We only have one of our products on there, but we have our own page. So as we add things to Amazon, we'll add it to our page, and you can go to that person's page. So this is kind of like, you can see this one company's different products. But like, if you look at this is a like something that you would put underneath you on the bed. So it's $150. Okay, like one time, a one-time purchase, and there you go, you've got it. So I think that's really huge. I'm very, very intrigued and encouraged about that. Because you can spend, as you know, as my customers and clients, you can spend $150 in a heartbeat on supplements. And then they run out. So really, really awesome. Stress reduction and nervous system regulation. So it shifts the body from the sympathetic fight or flight dominance to the parasympathetic rest and digest mode. That again is the vagus nerve, going back to that. And I'm totally blown away that I can now recommend this for vagus nerve resetting for people, because it is so integral to health. And there are a lot of people who have really serious problems due to vagus nerve insufficiency. And it can run the gamut from, oh goodness, POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It can go to gastric motility issues where you can't move your bowels, and it becomes, or your heart, your blood pressure, all kinds of things. The vagus nerve is super important. So again, stress reduction and nervous system regulation is remarkably important. Again, mitochondrial function and energy production supports the ATP production, your most basic form of cellular energy, by reducing oxidative stress in mitochondria, enhances the electron transport chain efficiency, leading to greater cellular energy, reduces fatigue, and improves overall vitality, right? So mitochondrial energy isn't the kind of energy that's going to, like a cup of coffee, that's just going to stimulate you. Your nervous system, it is your basic mitochondrial energy for your vitality. And people with good mitochondrial energy, optimal mitochondrial energy, don't need stimulants to get them going, because they have it in their being, if you will. Immune system support lowers inflammatory cytokines associated with chronic illness. Then if you're thinking about that, again, think of your autoimmune illnesses, because what's going on? You've got an imbalance of the Th1, Th2, Th17 response of the immune system. And that's why they put you on immunosuppressant drugs, right? To lower the inflammatory cytokines. But unfortunately, those drugs also imbalance the immune system. So now you become immunosuppressed, not immunobalanced. So balancing the immune system with something like this very naturally would be helpful for these autoimmune conditions. Enhances immune response by optimizing cellular function again. So your mitochondria are firing nice and smoothly with all of your cells. And so your white blood cells, when they need to be up there, are doing what they're supposed to be doing, or doing what they're supposed to be doing. Again, it may help with the autoimmune regulation by reducing overactive immune responses. That's the inflammatory cytokines. But inflammatory and cytokines are involved in the immune system, all in many different ways as well. So that's really awesome. Hormonal balance, again, regulates cortisol and the stress-related hormones that we get from the adrenal glands being overtaxed. Supports reproductive hormone balance by reducing systemic inflammation. And I would also add, by increasing melatonin, you are increasing a healthy effect on all of the other hormones as well. Melatonin is a hormone that affects the proper balance of the other hormones. And one would also actually think about lipid balancing, I would extrapolate. That would be my next question. I would wonder about what effect grounding might have on blood lipids. And maybe that's what they're getting after when they say blood viscosity, although I tend to think of fibrin more than I do lipids, but I'll bet you there's that whole connection. Let's look. Ha 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 ha. Let's see, earthing, grounding, and cholesterol. Yeah, it looks like it. Can grounding reduce from cholesterol? Possibly. I'm not gonna, I'll have to look to it to see if there's actually like something that it balances the lipids. Oh, I found something else this week that really balances the lipids, and that is pantothene, which is the coenzymated form of pantothenic acid, vitamin B5. I almost did my program on that today, but I decided to do this instead. But that is very, very interesting. And I've used bergamot for those of you who know about that I've recommended maybe for you or have heard me talk about it, bergamot, and for balancing the cholesterol, the total, the LDL, the HDL, and the triglycerides. Pantothene works very well for that. So let's keep that in your mind. But anyway, okay. Hormone balance. Wound healing and tissue regeneration speeds up wound healing by improving circulation and reducing inflammation. So it aids in post-surgical recovery and injury healing, right? So these belong in hospitals. They belong in as part of the hospital bed apparatus. I would just honestly say if you personally are going to be going in for surgery, or you have a loved one in the hospital or in a rehab facility right now or something, get them one of those and bring it in and just ask them to, put that on the mattress, and speed things along. Really fantastic. Neurological and cognitive function, supports the brainwave synchronization with natural electromagnetic rhythms, reduces symptoms, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder through nervous system regulation, enhances focus, memory, and cognitive function. Beautiful. I mean, again, think of the implications for the people, for our elderly population. Unfortunately, people who have already succumbed to neurodegenerative problems or something like that. But how about that in the nursing homes and the Alzheimer's wards, having this type of a grounding therapy going on? I mean, it's even the kind of thing where you could have classes with grounding mats and people do some simple exercises on the grounding mats barefoot. Or I mean, your imagination can just kind of get away with where the industry could employ this type of a therapy to very, very good advantage. Plus, like if your people in your nursing home are sleeping better, they're in less pain. I mean, it could be a huge thing. I've often said my dream, like if I was independently wealthy, would be to have a facility for the elderly where they got nothing but like the best food, the right kind of living environment, outdoor, all of that, music, blah, 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 the best food. They get the supplements they need. They have, yes, if they need medications, but they've got a functional medicine department that understands the whole person and doesn't just write prescriptions and willy-nilly. And then what if you did that? You just made sure that everybody had these grounding devices on their beds, or and then how about in their chairs? So they're just getting that all the time. I'm telling you right now, I bet you in a facility like that, like especially, okay, so if you had people who were already like down the road, the dusty road, and not well, I think you'd see remarkable improvement. But suppose you had a place where people just went, okay, say an assisted living type facility or whatever, and you just started, you weren't down the dusty road yet. I bet you would just see like people, I bet you would see the lifespan at that facility. You would see the lifespan over, say, a period of 10 years, you would be able to document that the lifespan was just like had extended by 10 years or something. I'll bet you. Anyway, that's just in my fantasy world, but blood sugar and metabolic health may improve insulin sensitivity by reducing inflammation, supports metabolic function, potentially benefiting those with diabetes. And, that is just wonderful, because these aren't all of these kinds of things sort of related to the aging process. Yes. Chronic degenerative diseases. Yes. And in the modern way of medical treatment today, we've got a medicine for all. Okay, I've got my high blood pressure medication, my cholesterol medication, my sleeping pills, my pills for my diabetes, and I've got pills for my autoimmune illness. Yeah, this is huge. And again, it is non-invasive. It goes back to, why did people, many, many moons ago live much longer, have a longer lifespan? What was different in the atmosphere and whatnot? So let's look at, okay. Now this was done by the Wellness Mama, who was Katie, what's her face? Katie Wells. So she did like a blog on this, and so you can pick that up on my website there. You can just look at that and read about that. And she talks about that book, Earthing, refers to deliberately making physical contact with the earth for health benefits. Grounding can refer to the electrical safety process, or grounding our body. So when we do earthing things, we ground ourselves. And that's okay. When you look at that video, this video, it explains more from like an electrician's point of view, like why we need to ground. If I go here, oops. To my grounding notes here, electrical workers ensure proper grounding to prevent electrical shock, equipment damage, and fire hazards. Grounding provides a safe path for excess electrical current to dissipate into the earth, reducing the risk of electrocution, ensuring system stability. It also helps prevent voltage surges and protect both workers and electrical systems from dangerous faults. So like when you're, like we have, like I have a strip, thing with a lot of places there, and it's supposedly, it's like grounded, right? So we don't worry, like if there's a lightning strike or something like that, it's gonna all of a sudden get this major surge and cause a fire, that type of thing. Okay, so where were we? We were here. So she talks about a lot of things here. Reduce inflammation, improve sleep, reduce snoring. That's pretty cool. Decrease inflammation and pain, increase energy. And she says when she was grounding, she talks about her experience with grounding. So you might find that interesting. Supports cardiovascular health, the things we talked about, again, blood flow, blood pressure, heart rate, hormone balance, helpful for the thyroid and the thyroid hormones. Very, very great. I mean, I think like everybody would benefit. Of course, everybody would benefit by incorporating grounding, earthing into daily lifestyle habit. Support healing, shortening recovery time from athletic activity. Scientific evidence, she goes through that. Oh, this was pretty cool. I found this too in a paper, and it's on my website, the actual scientific paper. People with COVID-19. The study participants grounded themselves for at least 15 minutes for up to 6 hours daily. All but 2 patients fully improved within 11 days after starting earthing. Without a placebo group, it's hard to draw conclusions, but earthing seemed to reduce the inflammation and improve breathing. And this, she did the grounding and inflammation, the thermographic imaging. Thermographic imaging is of a woman who complained of stiffness and chronic pain. The first picture was taken before earthing, and the second just after 30 minutes of earthing. Wow. That's huge. And then her experience with earthing, her grounding results. To my surprise, the first night I used the earthing mat, I fell asleep much more easily. I had no trouble falling back asleep after waking up to nurse the baby. Of course, one night of results could have easily been a placebo effect. After sleeping great for about a month, I was tossing and turning one night and couldn't fall asleep for hours. The following morning, I realized the earthing sheet had disconnected from the wall. So it wasn't working. Then she also uses, this is kind of interesting, earthing mat under her arms while sitting at her desk using a desktop computer. And when on a laptop, she also uses a defender pad to protect her body from EMFs. Anyway, blood tests confirmed my cortisol levels also improved over the 6 months I used an earthing sheet and spent time outside barefoot. Now she says, she talks about how to do that and all that kind of stuff. When not to try earthing or grounding. So I thought that this was interesting. Several years ago, I interviewed EMF expert Dr. Libby Darnell of Revived Living on the topic of EMFs and grounding. She complained one serious caution about earthing that many people don't consider: ground current. If there's strong ground current, it's possible that attempting to ground oneself could create more health issues. In theory, this is most problematic in large cities where over wires run in the ground. Her podcast episode talks about how to test for this in your area. So you might want to go there for that. Additionally, and this is a good word to the wise, don't practice earthing during thunderstorms with lightning. Direct contact with the ground during those times can increase your risk of being struck by lightning. The earth conducts electricity, so it's safer to avoid grounding during electrical storms. Okay. Those with electronic devices like pacemakers and insulin pumps should also be cautious. It's best to consult with your doctor before using grounding products in those cases. Yeah, and I couldn't answer you on that about like your pacemaker or your insulin pump. Anyway, so that brings us right up to just about the end. What else did I want to say? This one, earthing health implications of reconnecting the human body to the surface's electrons. And I wouldn't worry about walking around barefoot in the earth, in the grass or the earth or the dirt or on the beach if you have like a pacemaker or a grounding or a insulin pump. I'm just talking about those, the actual things that you connect to current. And then let's see what else. This one, yeah, integrative and lifestyle medicine strategy should include earthing, review of research evidence and clinical observations. So, and then you can see more here. The effect of grounding, earthing on body workers' pain and overall quality of life. Earthing, grounding the human body reduces blood viscosity, a major factor in cardiovascular disease. So you can click on those, right, and go down the bunny trail, the rabbit trail, to more information. So that pretty much, that movie you just showed is also on, yes, that's the link is to YouTube. Debbie, that's what it is. It's a YouTube video that that is there. And that's where the video on my page links to the YouTube, exactly the link that you just shared. In fact, if you click on it, it just takes you right to YouTube. Okay. That's where I found it. What else? I think that's about it. That's all I have to say today. I think that was really informative, really useful, very potentially helpful for many people. So I hope that you'll check it out. And if you're not already employing grounding practices in your lifestyle, then consider it. I'm totally going to decide what I'm going to do for myself and do it. And then I'll report back. Okay, so have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll be back with you next week. Take care.